Assalamu alaikum, ladies. Alhamdulillah, I finally did it. I actually wrote a book. It's dedicated to all the single Muslim mothers out there, hence the name How to Be a Single Muslim Mum. Inshallah, it's available as an ebook, paperback, and it will be available as an audio. Alhamdulillah. Barakallahu feekum, sisters, for the support. Check out the link in the description to get yours. The Niqabi Diaries, Season 4. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode, season 4 of the Niqabi Diaries. And alhamdulillah, we have with us today a return guest from season 1, Mumpreneur Niqabi, alhamdulillah. So sister, for those who've not heard of you before, could you please introduce yourself for the listeners and tell us a little bit about what you do, inshallah?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah, my name is Shukra. I'm a Nigerian, British, and I'm a Muslimah, of course, and I am entrepreneur, and I am a mom, and I use niqab, so that's where the name comes from, like mompreneur, niqabi. I used to live in Nigeria until I was, I think, 20 something. Yeah, like when I got married, I moved to UK and I lived in UK for 12 years, and now I currently live in Canada with my family. I have one daughter and my husband, and I work from home. Basically, I do all sort of things from home, and that's I think that's little introduction about me.
MashaAllah, sister, Allah Mubarak. So last time we spoke is, I think it was about 3 years ago now, because I've season 1. Okay.
Yeah.
So you was actually working as an accountant. That was your main profession.
Yeah.
You explained how you had started wearing the niqab and everything. Was mashallah, like really interesting and quite funny story actually. Alhamdulillah. But then you also talked about how you was just getting started with some, working from home businesses as well. So you mentioned just now you're also working from home. So what exactly are you involved in at the moment, if you don't mind sharing?
Okay, yeah, definitely. I'm a chartered accountant, and I used to work in an accounting firm. I worked there for 5 years, and it was while I was working there that I started using the niqab, and alhamdulillah, I had no problems there at all. They were like very like understanding, and they tried to do everything to make me comfortable there. With there's prayer room, there's everything. We go out for meeting, like they make sure it is a halal meal, like that. So they're really, really good. And to this day, I still have like relationship with a lot of my colleagues there. So though I've left there for like I think 3 years now. So yeah, so I still have good relationship with them. So but now what I do is I have I can't say it's a firm of my own, like accounting firm, but I have clients that I work with. So that's one of my source of income that I do. And then I sell on Amazon. So I do like FBA, Amazon FBA, and then I do Amazon merch as well now. So it's just like different things that I do. Like I don't know if people like understand. There are a lot involved with them. So I just like divide my time. And since I've moved to Canada now, I do Amazon in Canada as well. I still do the UK one. I just like work with a warehouse there that received my products from the suppliers and everything. So the UK one is still there and it still does really well, mashallah. And then the Canada one, I started that, and first year was like really like tricky. Like I wasn't making as much sales as UK, but now it's like it's growing. It's growing a little bit. So those are the things I'm doing basically. There are like 3 things now that I do. Yeah. And I do everything from home, mashallah. And I like that. I like that I don't have to go anywhere. And before I left UK, I already have like clients in London that I never saw them like physically, and we just do everything, emails, phone calls and things like that. So that was why I was able to like continue with that, because I don't see my clients like that. I know how they look and everything, but I've never physically met them, and so I was able to continue that. And then the Amazon one was well established as well. I already have suppliers, I already have the warehouse people. So all I do is just like place order, like coordinate things and make sure I'm not running out of stock and I'm still being profitable, like that. So
Yeah, mashallah, alhamdulillah, that's fantastic. Okay, so
yeah.
how have you found the transition from living in the UK to now living in Canada?
They're both different, like different culture, different settings in a way. There are some things in UK that I really like and I missed, and there are some things in Canada that I like now, and there are some things in UK that I don't like. So it's just like it depends. No place is perfect. That's one thing I've like realized and concluded. No place is 100%. You just have to
Exactly.
cope with it. Life
Absolutely.
generally is, I think, it's supposed to be a test. It's supposed to be difficult in a way, and once you accept that, we're not like chasing somewhere. Otherwise, like I would want to leave Canada again and go to another place. Of course, me moving wasn't my choice really. It's my husband's work, and if he moves, then I basically have to move because I want my family to be together. So it wasn't like I just like moving all over the place. No, that's not what I like.
Mhm.
But that's the circumstances, and I realized that if you embrace it, your situation, if you embrace it, you will do better. Otherwise, you just be like whining and complaining, and then you just be miserable. Basically, you'll be sad, you'll be miserable, and you will not actually enjoy life. So, I don't know if it's called philosophy or something. My motto in life basically is whatever you have, you look at it from glass half full rather than half
Yeah.
empty, and you just make do with what you have.
Yeah, so if you could, yeah, give us an example then of something that you miss from the UK,
Yeah.
and something that you appreciate now in Canada then.
Okay, yeah. UK. While I was in UK, I have a group of sisters. Like, and we go to the masjid, we go for walks together. We have like activities like virtually every week. Like I think, was it Tuesday? We go for walks, and on Sunday we have our like breakfast together. Everybody in the morning we bring our breakfast to the masjid. We have breakfast. We listen to lectures, and then we go. So like it just that sisterhood was there, and I was like enjoying it. The only downside to that was I was adding on weight because there are a lot of like delicious meals that sisters will bring, and then you have to eat a bit. So that I really miss that. Like go then I go to the masjid in UK like almost like a second home. I take my daughter there. I want her to have a connection with masjid, to love going to masjid, like that. So, and I made friends in the masjid. I just felt like that's like the perfect place to make friends, basically. So I made friends at, like up to today, like I sit up with a lot of them. And so that's what I miss in UK. Compared to Canada. In Canada, yeah, their masjid is sometimes attached to like a school or like a madrasa, and it's always like official, like almost like under lock and key. Because if you cannot just go there, because when you go there, they might be having like lectures there. Like it's not like homely, basically. It doesn't feel homely to me. All the masjid I've been to in Canada. But UK, it's like masjid is almost like a second home. So for me. So what I like in Canada is has to do with my daughter's schooling. She's in a public school here, and she was in a public school in UK as well. But with UK system, with academics, education, they're like um, rigid in a way. So if a child has autism, they'll take them to like autism program, and that's it or something. And but if the child has like visual impairment, there's program for them, like to teach them braille and everything. But if a child has autism and visual impairment, they will want to put her in like a box like that because they have system structure and everything in UK. And my daughter doesn't really fit into a box. So though she was doing well, So when she was in mainstream school, she was doing the braille really well, but she was lacking in like social aspect, the autistic side. And then when she moved to the special needs school, she was doing well with the autistic side and everything, but she got bored with the braille because it was fun for her. Like school became fun for her, and braille could be like a bit boring at times, so she doesn't want to do that. But moving to Canada, because they did not have structure, they were able to just tailor things around her really cleverly, that now she loves Braille and she has the social thing, like not like she's developing really well with that as well. So it wasn't
Fantastic.
because there's no structure there. Yeah, it makes it very like suitable for her. Yeah. So that's one thing I like
Okay.
about.
Okay, alhamdulillah. So in terms of your daughter and her progress, it's
Yeah.
much better in Canada.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Alhamdulillah. And it's interesting as well that you mentioned the lack of structure as well,
Yeah.
and that it's
Helps
more
her.
suitable for your daughter because it keeps her more engaged.
Yeah, and they were like trying things with her. Like they were able to try a lot of things with
Hmm.
her and get, and it was really good. Of course, the UK to help because I was able to bring a lot of reports from different quarters that she
Hmm.
was receiving help with. So it was faster to put her into a place, and then they were like tweaking things, trying things. We're having a lot of meetings when we moved with a lot of different departments, child psychologists, child days, braille specialists, speech, wherever, all sorts of specialists having a lot of meeting just for her. So it really helped her a lot. So I felt like the schooling in Canada really helped her more than the UK.
Okay, alhamdulillah. So, sister, could you like just take us on a journey about your daughter and motherhood in general from the beginning? Because obviously you've mentioned that your daughter, she has a visual impairment and she's
Yeah.
also autistic. So could
Yeah.
you like kind of I remember like I used to watch your channel on YouTube. You was posting some videos about disability and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
want to talk about that more so that we can kind of explore things because I think that there's a lot of people in the Muslim community who live with disabilities in one form or another, and yet at the same time I think there's still an element of stigma which surrounds people with disabilities or families who even are living with a family member who has a disability, for example. So I want to talk about that and some of the and to try to tackle some of the ways that we can become a bit more forward thinking in how we deal with people with disabilities, and especially obviously from the age of children, so that people young children don't grow up feeling that they're not welcome in the Muslim community or something like that. So if you could just take us from the beginning and tell us about your journey, inshallah, with your daughter.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. So with her, like I had some infertility at the start as well. So like I was like trying to get pregnant. And so it took a while to actually have her. And while I was pregnant, I think I was 4 years after marriage, like that. And I was like happy, of course, that oh, like at last. And I thought like all my problem will be solved when I have, like that was my thinking then. I feel like yes, like from now on, it's all happiness, no more like heartbreak, disappointment, everything is gone. Yeah. But then, the pregnancy was okay. It was all like, okay, I was sick in the pregnancy, but it was normal, like normal, like morning sickness and everything. So, and then I had her, and yeah, everything was fine until it wasn't. And the eyes. So, my husband is a doctor. So, he observed the eyes and he said, uh like something is wrong with her eyes. Like immediately I just said no, no, she's fine, like nothing. Like I just wanted to like push whatever thought is is wrong, the negative thought, like no, 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 she's perfect. Like, and so he said no, like he's not a pediatrician, like, so he said, but I've not been a doctor to children, so I might be wrong in this, but from what I've seen, she needs to be checked. And because I had her in the evening, they've not done like the routine um baby checks like that. So they came, they did it, and then that's where the doctor confirmed that there was something with the eyes. So then we were living in all, which was like like 2 hours to Manchester. So they had to like transfer us to Manchester. They were just checking everything, and that was when I know that okay, this is looking big now. And then like it's like a roller coaster, everything like, and that was barely 24 hours after I had her, so I could not even like relax. I could not even like enjoy being a new mom then. And we were just transferred to a new city, like about 2 hours away from home. And so that was how the whole thing started. And they were just testing and everything. And, they were connecting wires on her. She was screaming because she was a tiny baby. She was screaming and everything. And then, so at least there, they were able to tell us that the back of the eyes was fine. Like, was the front. And then we should go home for like 2 months. And if everything clears up, they were not sure that I was going to go away, of course. But they said it could be better. That's what they said. They said there's something, but it could be better. So, but we should allow her to maybe develop a bit more. So, well, like that 2 months, I was just praying, praying, tahajjud, everything, like praying, 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 praying for that. And then we went back and they said, no, I'm like, she had to do surgeries. So she did a lot of surgeries with the eyes, eye drops, eye drops, eye drops every time. So, yeah, that's that about that. And then, so we have to do more tests, like what could cause that and everything. And so they said she had Waga syndrome. That syndrome is very rare. It's like people have Down syndrome and see them, them that they have. Like to her, if you see her, you will not know that she had anything. But it was called Waga syndrome, which is something that, I try to hopefully make advocates awareness to that syndrome as well. And then so that was what they diagnosed her for at that stage. And it was after she was like 3 years that they observed that she has autism as well. With the autism diagnosis, they had to I took her to like a center, children's center. They observed her there. They came home to observe her. They went to school to observe her. And so yeah, that was that was how they diagnosed her with that as well. So it was multiple things
Subhanallah,
at
that,
the
that
same
was a
time.
lot. That was a lot for you to deal with, especially as a first-time
Yeah,
mum. So,
yeah, it was first
was
time.
it yeah? Did you feel overwhelmed? Like, because I think that must have been quite overwhelming.
Yeah,
Especially
I
when it's
was.
coming
I was.
one thing after the other.
Yeah, that first week, I was crying a lot. I noticed that I remember now that I was crying a lot. And one doctor, he was even a non-Muslim, he just approached me. He said, "Why are you crying?" I said, "My daughter, it's these eyes. She's not opening her eyes that much, and there's something there." And he said, "So, does she really need her eyes now? Those eyes now? She's sleeping most of the time, you know." And those words like really stuck with me, and I stopped crying because like I was thinking of future too much. So that's what one thing I could say. Like if you have a problem, stop focusing on the next 10 years, the next 20 years. No. Just think of it right now and take it a step at a time, a day at a time. Because once I start thinking, what, she's gonna be sleeping at least for the next like few months, few weeks, she's sleeping. She's not even using the eyes. So like don't worry about the eyes. Even if she can, I don't know what the level of vision that she will have eventually. Just stop worrying and I just stop crying. The moment I just thought of it like that, and that really helped me to like take each day, each step at a time. It was tough. There are some times that you want to blame yourself, like maybe I had something in pregnancy, maybe I did something, but then you have to relate it back that what, Allah is Al Khalik. He is the creator. He is capable of creating her with nothing. Like this is a test. This is the way he chose to create her. And who am I? Who am I to query Allah? So since I start seeing it like that, it makes it easy to handle. It makes it easy to, like you know g- process whatever feelings I was. But I was thinking like because of the hormone, like I just gave birth, so the emotion was all over the place at the start. So the first week, I'll say I was like all over the place. I was like a mess and everything. But like that by second, third week, I was like able to manage it really well. Like, okay, you know what, this is how it is now, like that. And she's gonna get all the help that she can get, all the everything that. And now looking back now, like it's a bit ridiculous, like how I acted. Like, of course, I wasn't like acting like crazy, but a lot of thought coming to me then. But now she's she's grown really well. She's doing so well that I was looking back. I was thinking, why was I worried? Like, what was I worried about? So things get better generally. So that's just it. Like, people
Alhamdulillah.
just
So how
worry.
old is your daughter now?
She's 9, 9. Yeah, she'll be
Oh
10
my
soon. Yeah,
God.
she'll be 10 later this year.
MashaAllah.
Inshallah. Oh, yeah.
MashaAllah. Okay. So
Yeah.
could you kind of so okay, so we had the so you had the initial diagnosis of how do you say it? Workers syndrome, is it?
Wagner syndrome is WAGR. And that syndrome, they say it was one
Workers
in one
syndrome,
million,
right.
100 million, whatever people that has it.
Wow,
And
subhanallah.
each Wagner syndrome person is different from another Wagner syndrome person. So that's how, like,
Subhanallah.
very,
Subhanallah.
very unique. Yeah.
Very unique, subhanallah. So look at
Yeah.
the gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
a very unique child.
It,
Subhanallah,
it,
subhanallah.
it is.
Okay, so
It is very
alhamdulillah,
unique. Yeah.
alhamdulillah, she's
Yeah.
9 now, and she also has autism. So could you
Yeah.
illustrate to us a little bit? Because obviously, even autism itself is something that's it's very unique from person to person also. So
Yeah.
that makes
Yeah.
even another
Yeah.
level of uniqueness.
Yeah.
Subhanallah. So you've got
Yeah.
a lot of layers there that you're dealing with. So
Yeah.
can you kind of illustrate to us what a typical day is for
Mm.
you and your
Yeah.
daughter, inshallah?
Okay. Okay, let me talk a bit about the autism. Our autism, on the spectrum is not to the extreme, I can say. So I can say, like, maybe she, like, in the middle, like, not too like, to the lower end that you could almost ignore, and not to the higher end that you need like a specialist, like people from outside. Once at the start, I was struggling with autism as well, because she used to have like meltdown. You know, they get like sensory overload sometimes. So, but once I was able to understand what the autism is for her, I always, okay, let me say, maybe 90% of the time. There are still some times that maybe I missed it, I missed the sign, and then she eventually, like, we have meltdown. But 90% of the time now, I'm able to like catch the early stage when she's like, getting all those sensory things, and I'm able to take her out of the situation. So it could be noise, it could be sound. She's very like sensitive to sound. So I'm able to like, either if I could take the sound away from her or take her away from the sound, I'll do that. Or if I'm able to like just reassure her that, and tell her where the sound is coming from, why the sound is there. So now she goes for swimming class, and then after swimming, like, people are drying their hair, like blow drying and everything. So that sound, she's like, she'll put the hand on the ears and like that. So, but I know that there's nothing I could do to take her out of there, because we need to like, change her to get her out. So I could not quickly take her out of that situation. I'll just explain that, oh, calm down. It is the air dryer. People are drying their hair. So now I've done that like weekly now. So now she knows where the sound is coming from. So once, with the autism, once I'm able to like, no, this thing is affecting her, I've seen the sign, then I'll take her out, then everything will be fine. And but if I miss it, then it gets big, like, gets really, really, really big. Recently we went to Costco, and I think he was doing something. I wanted to change my card, excuse me, so I was on the queue, and then I missed that she was like getting too much sensory things. And so I just said, calm down, not, no, not now, something like that. That was what I said to her. And then all of a sudden she just shouted, like, everybody was looking at me straight away, everybody. And because with me, with the Niqab thing, people will not even give you element of like excuse, like, oh, maybe the child has something. No, they might think, these people, what are they doing to this child? Maybe she must have done something to
Subhanallah.
this child.
Yeah, that must have
Like,
been
all
really
eyes
awkward.
in the Costco, all eye, and it was on Saturday, very full Costco, all eyes were just on
Yeah,
me.
subhanallah.
And so I blamed myself, because I should have recognized that she is like she's getting to that stage, and maybe just say, you know what, I'm going to come back another day to do this thing that I want to do with the customer service, and just go out and say, okay, let's go. And then
Alhamdulillah.
even with autism, the techniques I use with autism can be used with other kids as well. They just want to be listened to, like not just distract them when maybe you're on computer and a child come to you and just say, okay, no, you have to almost stop what you're doing, and come to a level and say, what is it, what do you want? Like, that's what like helps, the reassurance, stop whatever you're doing, don't stay
Absolutely.
too much on the phone. And it works with other, yeah, so those are the techniques that works
Definitely.
with that. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes even some people argue with me that she has autism, just based on how much I was able to like balance the whole thing with her. They even say there's nothing wrong with her, like they cannot see it. you know so they can't see
SubhanAllah.
it. If it's
SubhanAllah.
properly managed, like, people will not see it. But yeah, she does a lot of
SubhanAllah.
like little quirks here and there, like for example, now if she like kiss my hand and maybe kiss her daddy's hand, she'll kiss her own hand too. Things
Okay,
like that. That's the thing.
mashallah.
Yeah, like little things
That's
like that
cute.
that she does. They're all
That's
cute,
super cute,
basically.
mashallah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or maybe she wants to
mashallah.
count 1 to 100, and then she insists on counting zero, because if she doesn't count zero, there's something. Like, mostly autism is
Alhamdulillah.
like cute things, basically. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
mostly. Yeah,
SubhanAllah.
yeah.
SubhanAllah. Okay, so I think I want to talk about like being an African, okay, and autism, because I've living
Yeah,
in Ghana now, and I don't have
yeah.
any children with autism, but there
Children,
was
yeah.
one point when with one of my children, my one of my older two, it was actually my son,
Yeah,
when he was
yeah.
very young, I thought that he could perhaps be autistic because of
Autistic.
a lot of the things that he was doing as well,
Yeah.
but he never, like, we in the end he seemed like, he didn't have it, like he was just it was
Mm.
just he just has a, had a
Personality.
particular type of personality, yes.
Yeah. Mm.
Alhamdulillah. So but I think in general, like, because I know another Nigerian sister actually that I was living, when I was living in Newcastle, and
Yeah.
really lovely sister, may Allah bless her, but she has a
Understand.
son with autism, and
Mm.
one of the challenges that she faces as a African and West African, specifically Muslim, is that
Yeah.
her family members, for example, when she goes back to Nigeria, people don't
Mm.
believe in autism, and I think I'm
Mm.
not sure how severe her son's autism is, but I think
Mm.
it sounds like it could be a little bit stronger than more
Mm.
severe than
Yeah,
what your daughter has,
some are
because
more severe. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of the
Mm.
things that he does is a lot more noticeable, and she has to, there's a lot of work that she has to do for him,
Mm.
besides her other children as well. So
Mm.
she was saying that, in Nigeria, for example, when she goes back, people just think that,
Mm.
they don't believe in autism, they don't believe in it, and
Mm.
they feel that,
Mm.
oh, maybe the boy's just possessed or something like that. So there's this
Mm. Mm.
mentality that, your child isn't sick, that, or maybe that you're
Yeah.
over exaggerating as a parent. And also
Mm.
another sister that I've spoken to about autism as well recently was
Mm.
the
Yeah.
Scottish Revert teacher. She's known as that on
Mm.
YouTube,
Yeah,
and
I know.
she has two sons. Yeah, so two of her sons actually have autism.
Autism,
So
yeah.
and it's a similar, she's had a similar kind of situation to deal with, because her from the children's father's side, their family is also
Yeah.
African. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's something
Mm.
like, it's like, oh, because she's seen as a, she's a white a
Yeah.
white girl for them, it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
you just made this up, like,
Oh,
there's nothing wrong
yeah.
with the children,
Yeah.
you're over exaggerating, or you
Mm.
made them to be like this, it's this kind of mentality, like,
Yeah.
like almost like
Mm.
you're spoiling your children or something like that. That's why you're giving them all this attention, and making,
Mhm.
like, like, they see that they see it as that you're making a fuss about them or something like
Mm.
that. So can you
Yeah.
talk about your personal experiences with
Experience, yeah.
with your native African community, and
Mhm.
autism in general, and how have you found that?
Yeah. Yeah, like, yeah, it's, to them, they don't believe in autism that much. They just feel like, oh, like maybe she wasn't properly disciplined, like that. So I definitely understand that. We've only been to Nigeria once since I had her. And because autism, like, that's what I'm saying, like, if I'm able to manage it well when we're outside, and I'm able to, like, what do I call it? Is it decongest or something like that? Like I'm able to take her out of the situation, then nobody will know that she even has autism. Okay. But my immediate like siblings, my cousins, they're already aware. So I educate them a lot about it. Sometimes when I try to educate them, they say, "Oh, but my child does that too." So I said, okay, your child does that. It's a combination of things. Okay. Like I try to explain, like since the diagnosis, I've been trying to like explain to them, and to the people that I've explained to, some of them they still go back to, like anytime I say, "Oh, she does this," and then they would say, "Oh, but that's normal. All children does that." Okay, so I said, "Do they do this as well? Are they that obsessed with it?" Like when she was small, like when she was about I think 3 or 4, she used to like arrange her toys in a straight line. These toys could be 10 toys. Okay, they would be so straight, number one, and then they would follow each other like that. She's like very specific with things that if I pack the toys away, another time she would do the same thing. She would not miss one on that straight line every time. They have to follow, pink has to follow, the red has to follow. So if I take one off, she'll put the space there and she will be distressed, like physically distressed that there's something that is huge that is going on for her. For other kids, I know they could be lining up toys like that, but are they that? I can't. I don't want to. Okay, let me use the word obsessed with it. Are they that upset? Are they that destroyed with it? When I was in UK, she had this babysitter, and she used to read for her. She would insist on different books. The books has to follow each other. So maybe going on a bear hunt. After that, Tiger Who Came to Tea. After that, if I cannot find Tiger Who Came to Tea, if the babysitter is staying with us for like 3 hours, she will be in a bad mood. She'll be thinking like, this is huge. And even she will say, like, I've tried everything to take her mind off it. She's like, like every few minutes she'll be repeating, Tiger Who Came to Tea, Tiger Who Came to Tea. And so I have to make sure that all her things, I cannot miss one, because throughout that day, if it took me a day to find that thing, she's not herself. She's like struggling a lot with it. Those are the things that I try to do, educate
SubhanAllah.
the African people about. Like, it's not just one thing. You have to like live with this person. And I told you that a lot of the things that she does are cute as well, okay, at this stage. But imagine when she's like a teenager, a full-grown teenager, like 18 or whatever, and outside she's still doing those things. They might be cute when they're tiny, when they're small, but when they're
Yes, of
old,
course.
it might not be cute anymore. I went to a school when I was
Exactly. It might be
looking for special
inappropriate as
school.
well.
Yeah, when I was looking, it might not be appropriate. That's the word. That's the correct word. When I was looking for a special needs school for her in UK, we went to this school and they were like taking us around, like me and like other two parents, and it was like autistic special needs are there, and so we were going from one class to another, so one of the class that we went to, it was like they were doing like a catering, what's it called, they were in the kitchen, so they were baking, yeah. And then we went back to the principal's office from that place. We didn't know that one of the teenage autistic child has followed us, because he saw a necklace in one of the parents that caught his attention. And then as the principal sat down, we were going back to the principal's office to discuss, okay, how we find the school and everything. And then the teenage boy entered the principal's office, and he did not say, excuse me. He did not say, oh, I like this chain. He just went for it straight away. And the chain is in the person's chest like this. You see, when
SubhanAllah.
if the child is like 5 and does
SubhanAllah.
that, you will not count it.
It can make them
But
excuses
he's a
for them,
grown
isn't
man.
it?
It's like a
Yeah.
grown man coming to grab, touch
SubhanAllah.
your neck. Of
Mm.
course, because we know that, although the principal like explained to him that you don't do that, and he was just saying, I want that or something like that. He was just talking about that thing that it really caught his eye, you know. And so I said, all these things are cute now. They may not be appropriate when she's grown, and they will not be cute as well. So to explain that, it's just education basically, and if another thing, the way I deal with people generally, if it's someone that they're asking question or they genuinely want to know, I'm all for education. All for explaining to them. But if I sense from them that oh, I try to explain and I see that they're ignoring it, or they're saying, no, it's nothing, it's not, I'll stop trying, and then I'll not be spending as much time with that person. Basically, I'll that's the way I deal with it now. So I'll try to explain everything. My siblings, my immediate like siblings and cousins, they all understand. They are like, they're on board. If they're not on board, I'm gonna like drag them on board. Like, you have to understand this thing, because this is who she is, like that. But then if it's like maybe stranger or just somebody that's making comment, I try to explain. If I see that they're not getting it, I'll just let them be. I'll just, no problem, don't worry. Yeah, that's it. And then I'll just focus on, on what I'm doing. So
Alhamdulillah.
yeah.
Alhamdulillah. So mashallah, you're becoming an educator just through your own personal
Yeah, yeah,
experiences and
and
just coming
yeah, and
to,
a lot of
be able to,
people have come on board. Yeah, based on it's
yeah.
just ignorance most of the time. Like, they don't
Mm-hmm.
know much better, And autism is not a disability that's out there. Like, like, it's not that you're blind or you cannot see properly. It's different from
Yes,
that. So
yes,
that's the tricky bit. People cannot just see you and say, "Oh, this is a special needs person," if you have autism.
of
So that's
course.
is hidden. Yeah. So that's like, it's a bit tricky with that. And it's just they don't know, they don't have enough knowledge. And some of the kids,
Mm.
it's not as common though. I don't know now, but when I was growing up in Nigeria, autism wasn't as common. So it could be based on, I don't know, maybe what we eat. I don't know how much research they've done on that. um I don't know, but it's not as common then. Of course, now some Nigerian people like are saying that, there are these kids that have it as well. So it is there now as well, and it could be there then too. Maybe I was not aware of it. So it's just it's just knowledge. It's
And I
just
suppose
knowledge.
even in West Africa, in particularly, if people
Yeah.
were even autistic, then the problem is that people don't have the knowledge and they're not really aware of it. So
Yeah.
when there are these kind of different behavioral issues, they're just going to
Yeah.
see it as maybe that the child, it doesn't know how to behave, they need more
Hey,
discipline, and
yeah.
maybe they're unfortunately probably taking some extreme measures to actually
Yeah.
stop the child from behaving in a
Mm,
certain way, because I mean, here people can be quite fanatic when it comes to
yeah.
things like that.
Mm,
If a child is misbehaving, they'll say that
yeah.
the child is possessed, for example. There's so
Yeah.
many like
Yeah.
stories that we hear of that in
Yeah.
Africa, and maybe take the child to a church and try to get the
Mm,
demons out of it. And
yeah.
there's so many other things. Obviously, as
Yeah.
Muslims, we do ruqya, and I know that the
Yeah.
ruqya is
Yeah.
beneficial for everything.
Yeah,
So I'm
I
not
do
going to
Rukia.
say
I
that
do Rukia as
ruqya is
well. Yeah.
discounted, but
Yeah.
yeah, but
Mm,
the problem is when people is the way some people might do ruqya, or because
yeah.
we know that ruqya is just it's recitation of the Quran, but some people
Quran.
go to
Yeah.
extremes when it comes to ruqya, and they even use physical
Do
punishment, like
meant.
beatings
Yeah.
and things like that, which isn't really part of the ruqya, so this
Mm,
is important to
yeah.
know that as well. So
Yeah.
may Allah make it easy for all of those
Yeah.
families and those children
Mhm.
who are
I mean,
maybe
oh,
suffering from
yeah.
autism, and nobody's really even aware of it because they're not acknowledging the condition
Yeah.
itself. Subhanallah.
Yeah, although
I
I've
mean,
heard of a
okay,
case, sorry, before you go,
yeah.
I've heard of a case of a child that was non-verbal autistic child. That means they don't talk
Mm,
at all. And
yes,
then the
yes.
child, it was a boy, was the parent, they went for holiday in Nigeria, and then the outdoor thing, playing with the sand and everything, the large communal the way we live in Africa was able to help the child,
Mm-hmm.
and the child started talking after like 6 years.
Oh, wow.
The child was 6 years.
Alhamdulillah.
And when they came back from Nigeria, the child, of course, we still have some things, but he was able to start talking. So it might be the way we
Alhamdulillah.
live in Nigeria, in Africa, was able to help them a bit more. It might be that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not. It's just and it's a case that I heard of like that. And the mom was just
And that's
telling. It
nice.
was a friend of a friend, and the mom was just saying that
Mm-hmm.
if you have a child, I think just take them back home for like a month or so. Like they will. Like
Mm-hmm.
so she was advocating for that. let them go and play, go to beach with the sound, with the other kids their age. They will
Yeah,
start talking, like what was just a case,
inshallah.
like that. So I'm thinking that if people have autism in Nigeria, maybe because of the way we live, the family community might be able to help them a bit more. I'm not sure, So yeah,
Yeah,
I
so I
just
think there's that socialization, isn't it? I think that's the part of the thing. From the little that I understand about autism,
yeah,
from talking to the few sisters that I have spoken to, is that like obviously, like even the example that you just gave about the young man that went for the necklace of the woman, that
yeah,
there's it's just a lot of the behaviors that is exhibited from people with autism is like they're socially awkward. There's a social
yeah,
awkwardness to
yeah,
them. So
yeah,
maybe, as you said, that's what it is like living in Africa, and especially that kind of living within the communal, living in a compound,
mm,
for example, and mixing
mm,
with a lot
mm,
more people,
mm,
and seeing like they've got more opportunity to see a lot more different personalities within a space on a regular basis. Maybe that helps them to kind of analyze and kind of
mm.
like just kind of like break
Say,
down the different types of characters of people, and maybe that
yeah,
that itself helps them to open up,
yeah,
because they're like maybe some in some way they're kind of forced to adapt to
that,
those different characters
yeah,
that
yeah,
they're living around as well.
mm,
Yeah, so alhamdulillah,
mm.
because I think that's one of the things living in Western countries. Often we can be quite isolated, isn't it? And
Yeah.
maybe our homes are usually
Mm,
smaller in the Western countries, and
mm,
we don't
mm.
go outside as much.
So
Even now,
yeah,
like I think
yeah,
with the social media,
yeah,
the internet and everything, like
yeah,
most young people spend a lot of time indoors. When we
yeah,
was growing up, even in the
yeah,
UK, like
mm,
going outside and playing with friends was like the norm. But now it's like
yeah.
children mostly,
You
especially as
try
they grow older, they want to stay inside, because
inside,
most of
yeah.
their activities that they're doing is online, so they're having less
Mm,
actual real social interactions. So that's
yeah.
not, I suppose, very
Mm,
helpful. So
yeah, yeah,
it's really interesting thinking about that, alhamdulillah. But
yeah.
what I wanted to ask
Mm-hmm.
you is that have you seen any parallels between people's understanding of autism, or their kind of reactions or behavior with to basically within the Muslim community? Like, is there any kind of similarities in the Muslim community and also the West African community? Have you seen any parallels there? Or do you find
Okay.
that they're a little, like in general, like
Yeah.
from the UK? I'm talking about the
Mm,
Muslims in the UK, where obviously you was living around the Muslims and had more interaction.
interaction, yeah. Like I said, Amira, my daughter, you can take her name off, because I want to give her a bit of privacy as well. So yeah, because our autism is a bit more managed, is well managed from me. Like Allah made it easy for me to understand it, because I believe like if I don't understand it, then I would be like in trouble as well. Like I would be like, what's going on? Why is she doing this? Or maybe I will not have a balance. With her, I have a balance. I know when it is autism thing, and I know when she wants to like behaved in a not disciplined way. So because I'm able to figure it out, like, oh, she's just been like a typical child, and she just wants to see if she can get away with some things. Like I just ignore. I just said no, you're not having it, and that's it. And then she might cry a bit, and then she'll get over it. With autism, she cannot get over it. So and I have to recognize the difference between when it is autism and when it is not. So I can say with my daughter's autism, it's non-issue with Muslim community or African community, because usually I caught it on time, and there's no problem at all. And they would not even know that she really have anything. With Because she has the visual impairment, that is obvious with her. So they always like, oh, like a lot of Muslim community, different reactions with that. They'll ask me, oh, is she blind? A lot of them always ask that. Is she blind? Can she see me? Like, oh, so some of them will like want to feel pity, which I don't really need a pity. I don't really need to be pitied, like that. So, but I understand that maybe they're shocked. Maybe they've never seen a small child that has visual impairment or blind, like, or close up like that. Okay, so yeah, I don't take that like as offense. Okay, but when I try to explain to people, or I just say, you know what, she's fine, and they're always like constantly want to pity me, or pity her, that's where I have issue. And maybe I've explained to you that, oh, she's fine, just treat her like other kids. Of course, leave allowances for the fact that she can't see things properly. So if you're maybe giving people biscuit, giving kids biscuit all over, you don't just say take to her because she doesn't know where to take. So you have to make sure you can say it's in front of you, it's beside you. Like you have to take a hand sometimes on top of that thing that you're giving her. So those are the allowances you take. But don't say, oh, because she has visual impairment, then she can have two, or she can only have half of it, or something like that. Don't treat her differently than other kids. Just make special like allowances for her to be at this stage of other kids, basically. So that's the right approach that I would suggest people do, basically. um yeah, I've had all sorts of people have said different things to me. I've felt rejected, um and I felt over accepted as well. That's there as well. So yeah, basically I just educate people. I used to take her to the park a lot in UK, and now in Canada she goes to the park a lot. Usually, when I was in UK, I go with my friends and their kids, so she's playing with other kids, and I really like that. Yeah, the friends I have live about 40 minutes drive away, so we see each other, but we have to like time it and plan it, so it's not like spontaneous like when I was in UK. So all the parks that she goes to in this area, they're like uh um she's just playing by herself, basically. And usually most kids just like hello, and then they go, or they just ignore her, basically. And then she's playing by herself. So in UK, when we used to go to the park, some kids, for example, they were laughing at her, like that. They're saying, "Oh, why is she walking like that? She's not a tiny baby. Why is she walking like she cannot? She's not picking up her legs. She's being very careful because she cannot see things properly. So she has to like be careful so as not to hurt herself." So I called all the kids laughing at her. I said, "Okay, all of you come here, come here, come here." Yeah, like about 10 of them. I said, "Okay, I'm gonna test you. All of you close your eyes." And they closed their eyes. I said, "Okay," and walk towards me now. All of them, like two of them could not even move their leg because they're so dependent on the eyes that they could not even move. The other ones that moved, they were worse than the way she was walking. So that's when they realized that, oh my God, like I tried to put them in my daughter's shoe.
SubhanAllah, that's
And
excellent. Yeah,
and,
definitely.
and then she was, and
Wow,
that was
fantastic.
when they appreciated her. That was when they like, oh my God, she was so good with her walking. Like that. Like, so things like that with the kids, I don't take any offense at all. Children, they say whatever they want. I'm fine with it. I just try to educate them, like do that kind of thing with them. And since that day, they all accepted her. There's two of my friends' kids as well. They were like, "Oh, don't touch me. Don't touch me. I don't want my eyes to be like that." So I called them. I said, "Come, come, come." She cannot give you the eyes. Okay, ask me any question. You cannot. Your eyes cannot be like that. Okay, ask me. So they said, why is our eyes like that? I said, because that's the way Allah created her. You believe in Allah, right? They said yes. I said, that's the way Allah created you. I said, when you were being created, do you have any contribution to it? Did you tell Allah, this is the eyes I want? So they said, no. I said, so she doesn't have any contribution to that. That was exactly the way Allah created her. Okay. And if you touch her, if you play with her, your eyes is not gonna be like that. Okay. So and since that day, they were playing with her, running around. They even come and say, "Can we play with her? Can we take her together?" I said, "Yeah, but just be careful of that. If I see like something that could harm her, just be careful of that side." And then they'll play. So with kids, they can say whatever. I excuse them. But I don't ignore it. I try to educate them, and then they're okay. They're kids, like they're fine. But it's adults that I find like problem with sometimes, especially when you try to explain to them and they're still like, oh, or they're looking at you like, no, no, I don't want my child or something like that. So there are a lot of instances like that, but I try to ignore, to delete it, because I don't want to be having like, oh, I don't like this sister, she did it to my daughter, but she did this to me. So I remember, but I don't like talking about it because it's like, like that. The issue I have again is while we were in UK, she was able to go to madrasa. The teacher understood her and I was there. I was always with them. So other kids would come, other parents would come, drop their kids, and go back home. But with her, I have to stay around so that because I'll be able to monitor the whole thing and see if she wants to like misbehave or whatever. So I have to like almost assist the teacher. So, and she was doing really well. She was learning, the Quran and everything. But when we moved here, I tried to get her into even Muslim school. I emailed about 10 Muslim schools in Canada, just trying to say, because, I don't want to go there to a Muslim school. I think 5 of them replied, 5 of them didn't. And the 5 that replied said, oh, we could not, we could not, we could not. So they could not accept special needs for her. Okay, so that she had to go to,
Subhanallah,
yeah,
subhanallah.
yeah. So then our Muslim community, we don't have plan for special needs. Yeah, we don't. We don't.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's a shame. Subhanallah.
Yeah. So that's cool. Okay. Then the madrasa, I was trying to contact to get her into a madrasa, and no reply at all until one of them like contacts me. In fact, they did not. I was like, reply, like sending 3 emails again, like, oh, just a reminder, I've sent this, I've sent that, like I had to be doing that. And then one of them replied, the lady called back and just said, okay, you said your child has special needs. I said, yes. I said, okay, we could try her and see. Oh, so I was like optimistic. I was praying. I was like, yeah, anything you want me to do, I'll do. So I took her there. They said it was $80 per month. I said, don't worry, don't worry. Even if I don't have savings later, like, I don't mind. And then they said, so the lady saw her daddy and she said, okay, let her be in this class. And she said, oh, we're going to test her before we accept. I said, all well and good. And I will be there. So I'm not just going to drop her because definitely she'll need someone. So I said, but I'm just going to sit at the corner. If everything is going well, I don't have to get involved at all. But if there's something, that's when I'll observe and see and come in. And then, so the lady, after that first week, she said, oh, okay, she's fine. Like she was okay. She read the Quran. She was even far above the class, because she was able to memorize Quran just by playing it to her. So she already, Juzu Amma, Juzu Tabaraka, like half of Juzu
MashaAllah.
Kasemi, the Juzu, the first Juzu with
Allahumma
Quran.
barik.
So, and just by playing, I just play it in the house. Our memories like magnets. She
Subhanallah.
memorizes everything, everything. Even her books, she memorizes
Fantastic.
them, everything. So and the
Wow.
class, they were doing Juzu Amma and Juzu Tabaraka. So she already knows it. So the teacher was giving her surah to read, and she was reading it. She was well behaved. She was sitting down. She was not trying to they fidget a lot, like some autistic kids fidget. So, and she does that sometimes. So she was sitting down reading Quran. All other kids, the kids were so amazing. They were playing with her. They were like wanting to hold her hand. They were amazed with the way she was reading. She reads with Tajweed because that's anything I
Allahumma
play for her.
barik.
She doesn't know the rulings of Tajweed, but because of
Mm,
the recitation, she copied people's tones and and the pronunciation. So she was able to do that, and she did really well in the class and everything. And so after that day, the teacher said, "Oh, okay, I can see her. It was supposed to be Saturday and 2.5 hours on Saturday, 2 hours on Sunday. So that's 4.5 hours for weekend." And so she said, oh, she could not be coming every day because we want to focus on the other kids. I said, okay. And though she was not taking attention the way she waited for her turn and everything like that. But I said, okay. Like, I just wanted to go along with anything. If you say I should jump, I'm going to jump. Like, I just want to make it so easy that they will at least give her a chance.
that
So
was
she said,
because,
oh,
yes.
only come on Sunday, which is 2 hours. I said, okay, that's fine. Even I was ready to even pay the full money. And for her to just come for that 2 hours, that would be fine with me. Like, I was like desperate, basically. And then so she said, okay. The next week, I went on Sunday, only Sunday. And then that was 2 hours. She said, oh, don't worry, you pay half anyway. And the teacher was amazing. She said, yeah, definitely, I'll take her on, like that. And then the lady again said, I think she should not be coming for the whole 2 hours. Maybe she should just come for 1 hour. So I said, okay. And she said, no, you know what? I'm going to
Subhanallah.
discuss with the management. 4.5 hours for other kids, for her, 1 hour. I said, no problem. I said, no problem.
Mm,
That's, desperation, right? So she was the admin there. Okay. And she said, you know what? I have to talk to the management, but I'm sure everything will be fine. And then I came home that day after discussing that she should come home for just 1 hour. And the brother called me. And she said, you know what? There's no way she could join. Oh, I said, why?
Subhanallah.
And she said,
Subhanallah.
and then the brother said, oh, the sister was, they were not like getting good results from her. I
Really?
was, seriously.
What do they mean by not good
And
results? And she's memorizing quicker than
she did
everyone.
really well.
Subhanallah.
She did so. If she had failed, I would have understood. Like I would say, yeah, she did. She was not sitting down well. She was trying to move every time. She was disturbing other kids. I would understand. But the fact that really hurt me so much. The fact that she passed and I was bending over like anything you want, I'll do. Okay, no problem. I'm fine. Thank you.
Mm.
And but what gave the sister away, that why I was so mad with the sister, was she was the admin, but she never told me she was married to the management. So that was her husband. She was the one
Subhanallah.
that does not want my
Subhanallah.
daughter.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because what the
Wow.
man, she had, so when the man introduced herself, I'm the husband of this sister. I was like, okay, and I'm the head of the kid, whatever. I'm the management. So that was when I said, okay, so you're the head of the management and you're the husband. And now you're telling me it was the sister. And he was even telling me, I did not meet her. So I cannot judge her like that. It was the sister that met her that said that. The teacher herself was so lovely. She was even saying, don't worry, I'll give her a personal class. I said, don't worry, let me just take her away and go and think about what I want to do with her. you know, like I felt betrayed. I even told the man, I said, I feel rejected by the Muslim community.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Why would you want a personal one-on-one class with them after the way they've
Be-
treated her? SubhanAllah.
exactly.
That
Yeah.
why would
And
you even
because I
trust
really
them?
want the community for her. I know that she wasn't going to learn anything because she knows Juzam and Justabarak already, you know. But I wanted her to feel that, like I go somewhere, there are other Muslim kids around. That was what I wanted for her, not specifically the class. Basically, of course, it will help Roger, but I just felt like she needed that, and they denied me. Like, yeah,
SubhanAllah, that's really despicable behavior. Really, really,
yeah,
really
yeah,
deplorable. That's just
yeah,
disgusting.
yeah.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah, I
Because
was,
you
I
know
was, I
what,
was
those
so
kids,
mad.
would have learned a lot from your daughter. Actually, the kids would have
Yeah,
learned a lot from your
yeah.
daughter,
I
and
even
so
told
would the
them. I
teachers.
said, you
Actually, but
said you were
obviously so
practicing
normal.
Islam. Yeah, I even told them. I said,
SubhanAllah.
you are practicing Islam. Okay, you're on the Sunnah. No bid'ah, things like that. Great akida, right? And Allah sent His servant to you. I told that man for you to practice that Islam on her, and you did not even recognize that. That was what I told that man. I said, you do not recognize that man. And the fact that both of them were playing me. Because then the sister said, I'm so sorry that she won't be able to come. The management, this. And then the management, which is the husband, was telling me that, I did not see her. It was the sister that saw her. See, I felt played. And I was mad and I
Well,
let
of
them
course,
know
they
that I
were
was
just
mad.
wasting their
Yeah.
time. Definitely, they was just wasting their time and making excuses because they feel uncomfortable and they don't know how to deal with it. It's just so immature of
Yeah.
them and disgusting
Yeah.
behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she did not fail. So I cried even. I actually cried. I felt like. But then at the end of the day, I moved on. I saw the sister one time. I just ignored her. I didn't even want to greet her because I was still like, you know what? You're not my friend. You are not my friend. Because I told the sister, I said, what if you have a child like that? What if you had a child like that? You'd never put yourself in my shoe. Just not once. You never. That was those things like they really like shocked me, and I just thought like, what kind of Islam is this? What kind of Islam is this? Islam is practical. You're supposed to not just be rituals that you do. You're supposed to let it affect your behavior, how you treat other human beings, how you treat people, how to me, I felt like they failed the test. I felt like they failed the test, and I was telling them you're supposed to like practice your Islam. This is opportunity. Even if you don't want to accommodate her for something, if there's a safety reason, like discuss it with me. Like let me know, rather than make me feel like stupid. And I had to go home and hug my daughter, and I was telling her, you did not fail. You passed this test. The teacher was amazed. The other kids were amazed with her. You pass. You behaved well. Like she was looking at me like, what is wrong? Like, why am I behaving like that? But like I just had to like almost telling myself that she passed, but it was just not good enough for them. She wasn't good
Yeah,
enough for me.
she passed and they failed. They failed
Yeah,
miserably. That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
stuff of
That
life.
was
They
what I was
failed
like.
miserably.
Yeah. So now she hasn't got
SubhanAllah.
anywhere, but I just try to increase myself in knowledge as well and just teach her because I'm gonna have to be a teacher anyway. So yeah,
Alhamdulillah.
there's
Alhamdulillah.
something good that can come out of it. It can make me get serious with my deen more, and because I
Well,
have to
definitely.
teach her.
As you said, as you mentioned at the beginning, sister, it's really all about the mindset, isn't it? And I think
Yeah,
obviously, like you have the right mindset, but those, those teachers or admin or whoever they don't have the right mindset. So, subhanallah, that's
yeah,
sorry for them. And
yeah.
may Allah guide their means, subhanallah.
I
So,
mean,
in light of what we've discussed today,
yeah,
what would you like, or what would you like the Muslim community in particular to know, and going forward, about autism or children with disabilities in general,
yeah.
and what kind of changes do you think should be brought or put into place within the Muslim community so that there can be more kind of cohesion and acceptance and integration with for Muslims who have disabilities.
Yeah, what I can say is they should, like, if they're doing like kids activities, or even there are adults that are Muslim that are, that are disabled, that have special needs, they should always think, put the allowances. They always think that, oh, we have this plan for people to do this and do this. Yeah, maybe there's a conference, for example, or there's kids activities that Muslim community organized. They don't always think about, okay, what about people that doesn't hear, that can we get someone that could be like a sign interpreter or something like that. So it might look simple to people, like that, but it's little things like that. It shows the disabled Muslim community that, oh, they actually thinking about us, like that. Like, let's put it in, because otherwise there's always this dilemma that you want to do things right, you want to do things that is halal, and then you want your family, your daughter, everybody to be, your kids to be in a social gathering that is halal. But if the social gathering does not cater for the special needs of your daughter or for yourself even, then you don't feel welcome, then you might be either not have social gatherings, or you are isolated, or you go to the general one, which could have haram elements to it. So it's just to maybe just think a bit more and just make some room for, okay, just in case there are people that could not, they have hearing issues. Then we have this sign interpreter that one of our brothers has volunteered to, sign interpret, or for people that might need maybe a wheelchair. They should like have like another entrance that they could just wheel them in, rather than, oh, you know what, this is the venue, there's only stairs. Like just little things like that. I just felt that they could add to it,
Yes, subhanallah.
and then,
Yeah.
because they will actually be
Little things go a
isolated.
long way, isn't it? Yes. Oh no, I was just saying
Mm.
a
Yeah,
little bit of effort goes a long way.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Like, it's just to feel like, oh, but anywhere I go, to be honest, I don't feel like we fit perfectly into like a place like that. So I have options. I have like two options: go there, feel isolated, and usually that's what happened, because I still want her to be in the Muslim community. We're still Muslim at the end of the day. So I don't spend too much time there. So if the program is about 2 hours, I'll just, oh, let me just go there for 30 minutes, just to feel a little bit like, okay, I'm here now. And then I'll go. So, or you don't go at all, or there are a lot of activities for special needs, but they are not Islamic. There are a lot of them. They've gone a lot where, they have camps, they have, sporting events, they even have all this music and dancing. They invite my daughter, but she doesn't go to a lot of them. So there are a lot of things that,
Subhanallah.
yeah, so it's just a little bit effort. I'm not expecting them to change all overnight and just become experts with, disability, and or be at the same level with the mainstream, but just a little bit effort here and there. Consider take kids with autism, all other special needs. Just consider them that, okay, maybe this section could be quiet area For example, imagine if the Muslim authority or whatever community organized an event and it's loud, everything, and they have this quiet, maybe like sensory corner or something like that. Like even the kids, even the mom will feel like, what, like I'm part of this thing. Like I feel part of it. Me, I don't. I don't feel part of anything. I just, what? I have Allah. That's why I just like move closer to Allah. That I don't feel like I have anybody most of the time. I just feel like, what? I have Allah. He knows me. And that's the most
Alhamdulillah.
important thing. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, sister.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. And Allah is all we need. I know it's like, it must be really difficult, obviously, like, because we do like that social interaction and
Yeah,
nobody
we
really
do.
wants to feel like an island, So,
Yeah.
and I think that's part of our religion as well, that, Islam encourages, that kind of sense of community and that feeling of community. And we are responsible for each other,
Yeah. Yeah.
in regards to, like encouragement and giving that kind of support in various ways. It's not just a financial support, but physical,
Mm.
emotional, spiritual support. We're supposed to live as a community. So it definitely must be disheartening sometimes when you, from your own community, you feel that you're not getting any of those things.
Yeah.
Subhanallah, and especially for your daughter, who she's just a child as well. So she's an innocent child, and people still sometimes can be so cold-hearted and not accepting or even trying to be accommodating,
Definitely.
even a little bit. Subhanallah,
Yeah.
it's really quite
Yeah.
subhanallah.
Yeah. It can be.
May Allah guide us.
It can be. I'm talking to her as well, like training her, letting her know that, of course, I don't want her to be like alone or cold and everything, but trying to, teach her basic things and just, I want her to be strong by herself, basically. And if she sees people, fine, alhamdulillah. Who knows future? Nobody knows anyway. So if she sees people around her in future, alhamdulillah. But if not, she'll be fine as well in a way. So that's what I'm just trying to prepare her for the world that we are in now. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That's it.
Sometimes you need to just teach your children to enjoy their own company, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, sister. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with us?
Final thoughts. Let me think about it. Do I have any final thoughts? Not really, to be honest. I think we've touched most things. Generally, special needs, teachers, kids or adults, they just need to be treated like other people. I always love people. I've met some sister actually that they would treat her like other kids. I'm always very grateful for that. Okay, they will talk to her if she finish eating. They'll say, "Okay, pack your things, take that." Like that's really good. They treat her like other kids. If there's something on the way that could like hurt her, harm her, or something, they'll take it out. But they will let her do it rather than do things for her. Okay, so basically, just treat them like the way you treat a person without it, and just put the allowances there. I've explained it before, but it's as simple as that. If you do that, then they will not feel like, oh, something is wrong with me. They'll feel like, oh, I'm like everybody else, and everything is fine. Yeah. The sister that treated my daughter like that, I had to ask her, how did you know this? How did you know to treat her like that? Because some other sisters, they might over pamper her, they want to do everything for her, which is bad in a way because you're saying that they can't do it or it's too much. Like I just had to tell them, no, let her do it. Let her do it. Because it's like, don't pamper her because of the needs, because of special needs. Challenge her a bit so that she can she can do things. Don't conclude that, oh, she can't, so I have to do everything for her. And don't treat her like, oh, there's nothing wrong with her. Dismiss her disability, dismiss her autism, dismiss things as well, because that will come at a detriment to the child or even adults with special needs. So it's just treat human beings like a human being, like properly. And if they need any help, you don't just come to help special needs. Even you can ask them, like my daughter now, she's trying to figure things out. Sometimes I'm looking at her, I'll let her try, figure it, looking for something, figure things out. And then I've taught her now that she knows to say, I need help. Then I say, okay, let me help you then. I don't just jump to helping her. And usually, most times, if she's looking for something, she can't find it, she check everywhere. If she can't find it and she says she need help, I'll just direct her to your side. look to your side, put your hand to the right, a little bit to the right, like that, and then she'll find it. But if she find it by herself, she'll be so happy. Like she'll say, "Yes, I found it," without me going to help her. Because if I help her every time, I'm not giving her opportunity to develop. Basically, I'm just helping her to do everything. So it's just treat human being, disabled, non-disabled, Muslim, even non-Muslim, like they're human being, they're creation of Allah. Treat them well, and then because nobody knows, anybody could be disabled tomorrow. That's another thing that most people forget.
Exactly.
Most
And
people
that's what
forget.
I always think about. I always think about things like, I think since I was a child, actually, this is one of the things, like I always wanted to learn sign language from an early age, and I
Yeah,
still don't know
yeah,
sign language, and I
yeah,
feel ashamed of myself for even saying that. But
yeah,
I've always been
yeah.
interested in, these
Interesting.
kind of things, because even though I've had very limited kind of interaction with people of disabilities. I think when I was
Mhm.
growing up, there was a lady in the church that I used to go to as a child. She was blind, and
Yeah,
that was somebody who you could say I grew up with,
yeah,
and to be honest, it was a different experience as a child than seeing an adult that was blind, because she was very
yeah,
old, actually. So I think due to
yeah,
her age as well,
yeah,
she always needed somebody with her to like
yeah,
walk and stuff like that, and to give
yeah,
her that
yeah,
kind of help, because her age itself was
yeah.
also like a type of impediment, to be honest. So she was always getting support from other members of the church. But I don't know, like I think I've just
Mm.
kind of always had this kind of mindset that I know that one day that could be me. And I
Yeah,
remember when
yeah.
I asked
That's
her
what
once,
people
how
don't
did she
know.
become blind?
Yeah.
And she mentioned that she was frying some food, and the
Oh,
oil had gone in
yeah.
her eyes. The hot oil had gone in her
Wow.
eyes, and that's how she became
Wow.
blind. So I think
Wow.
just from hearing that, I
Yeah.
think
Mhm.
it kind of awakened in me like a kind of
Yeah.
consciousness that made me always think, well, as you said, disability could happen to anybody anytime. You don't need to
Anybody
have
at
a
any
particular
time.
skin
Look at the
tone or
Gaza
anything.
people.
You know,
May
it happens
Allah
to a
is
lot of
their first.
people.
Yeah, look at
I
the
mean,
Gaza, the kids in Gaza now. A lot of them will be disabled.
yes,
A lot of
subhanallah,
them.
subhanallah,
Like,
subhanallah,
yeah,
subhanallah.
like, may Allah ease their affairs. Is like, it's really troubling
I
what's
mean,
going on there. But when everything finished, those kids are gonna need a lot of support. Even adults will need a lot of support.
exactly,
And if we Muslim
exactly,
community, we cannot even accept one or two special needs people around us, how are we gonna help thousands of people? You
exactly,
know?
exactly.
So
Subhanallah.
yeah, we have a lot of work to do, basically.
Yeah,
Community,
definitely.
we definitely do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
subhanallah, subhanallah.
Okay.
May Allah facilitate and guide us to the straight path, to continue to guide us. I mean, because like we really need to have this awareness, and be, like you said, like know how to treat people that Allah has sent to you, like those guests from Allah, and
Yeah,
those gifts from Allah. People, and people, and it's like if you're walking down the street and that you see, like, a rock in the middle of a road or something that could
yeah,
cause
yeah,
somebody to hurt
yeah,
themselves, or a snake
yeah.
or
That
whatever.
is Islam.
Allah has put you there for a reason. You're
Mhm.
supposed to move that out of the way. You can't
Yeah,
just step over it and ignore it because it's
yeah,
easy for you to do so. You need to move it out of the way for somebody else, and you'll get that reward. And you're
definitely.
creating ease for somebody else, the person who's
Hmm.
going to come after you. And that example is just a small case, or where in the life
Awareness.
we have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
we need to be doing that. We need to be doing
Hmm.
that with everything in life. Whatever we
Definitely.
do now is gonna, inshallah, make things easier or more difficult for the next generation. So
Nation.
we can't
Yeah.
just sit down and kind of turn the blind eye to
Mm,
things, or pretend like
mm,
something's not happening, or not be active, and
yeah,
this kind of heedless personality. We need to be active and try to include people, subhanallah, because those
mm,
those children, like you mentioned, having
yeah,
disabilities, they're just like
yeah.
every other child.
God,
They've got
definitely.
aspirations, they've got dreams. They want to have
Mm,
lives going forward. And I speak to
mm,
sisters now who are who are young women, and alhamdulillah, they're even with their disabilities, they still get
mm,
married and they still have children. you know
mashallah.
so
Mm,
they're fully functioning individuals. And like you
yeah,
said, the most
definitely.
important thing to
Mm,
do is, if in doubt, just ask. Just ask.
yeah,
These are human beings,
yeah,
people.
definitely,
Ask people.
definitely.
Don't just
Do,
assume.
do
We
you
should
need
we should
help?
ask.
Yeah.
That's why
Mm.
communication is important.
It is, and And then if they need help, they'll give you, once you help them, they'll say, oh, thank you. And, with the technology is helping them a lot now, this AI, whatever is helping. We have some app that once you enter the room and you just show the phone there, it will describe things for you. Before I used to be like volunteering with the Be My Eyes. So I used to receive calls and from blind people. They say, oh, can you check the milk for me? Is it expired? Then I'll just tell them, oh, turn the camera down a bit, and I'll just tell them the date. Now they don't really need like human like that to tell them the expiry date of a milk. So they can just put the phone on. There are a lot of apps that, read things and they'll just say, okay, the milk is fine. App that could describe a room, so of course they still need human touch, to things, but for the most part, they can be independent. They can live like independent life, and then whatever. It's just the social interaction. They cannot replace that. With the technology, technology will be there to help. So if the Muslim community or like human being generally like able to be there as well, so they're getting the social, interaction they should get, and they have the technology, then they will be fine. Basically, it's not the end of the world. They will live like a very good life. It's not like it's like calamity that we've never seen before ever in the world. So a lot of people are blind, a lot of people have autism, a lot of people will have autism, a lot of people will be blind, so it's not the end of the world. That's the thing. And once you see them as that, like, oh, they just need a bit to adjust their way of life, then you see them as almost like equal to you rather than maybe see them lesser to you. And then you'll be able to treat them well. So yeah.
Oh, sister, definitely, absolutely agree with you. Alhamdulillah. Barakallah fikum for
I
giving so
mean,
much of your time. It's been a real pleasure talking to you and,
oh,
hearing about some of your experiences as well. And, that with your
yeah,
daughter, especially, and, the journey that you've both been on together. And may Allah
yeah.
subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you both with
I
many
mean,
more beautiful years together. I mean,
I mean, thank you.
okay,
Thank
have
you.
a blessed day, sister.
All right, you too. Take care. Have a nice day.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.